And they're like, who's the headliner? And they point to me. So this lady comes, are you funny? So I would always just go, no, I'm horrible. I suck. I can't believe people book me. I'm terrible.
When you wear glasses, when you first get them, people bug you. They come up to you. Oh, you got glasses. Can I try them on? I got underwear, too. You want those? Then they put them on. Geez, you got bad eyes. That's why I wear them. Call me kooky. Wearing glasses is a handicap. It's like any other handicap. You don't see people going up to a guy in a wheelchair. Oh, in a wheelchair. Mind if I take it for a spin? While you sit on the curb? Geez, you got bad legs.
And that was, here we are with the funny guy in the sick world that Rodney was talking about. That is a great introduction. I wish I had that introduction on my reel.
Rodney, yeah.
I envy you for that.
Yeah.
Did you get to know him beyond that special?
Yeah, and well, the funny thing is, I was talking about John Fox, who I, when I was emceeing, he got me on that show because Rodney seen him and he asked if he knew any other guys, and I sent a tape to Rodney's house, and he watched it and put me on the show.
So it was actually a tape. It was a VHS.
Back then, yeah.
Because I know when I started, people were sending out cassette tapes.
Oh yeah, no, it was
VHS.
It was a VHS, and he saw it, liked it, put me. He called me, which was like, "Hey, I dig you," and he talked like an old beatnik. "I dig you, man. I love you, man. I love your stuff, Daddy. You crazy, man." And I thought it was someone. I thought it was someone messing with me.
Yeah, because you probably knew six guys.
Who is it?
You knew six guys at least who did to Rodney.
Yeah, but it was Rodney. So he put me on, and he told me this too. He goes, when I got done, he goes, "You got your own style, which is good or bad. You might be out of style." Always with the joke. But it was crazy. We were at the Tropicana bar, me and him and Fox. He lights a joint at the bar. We're like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Hey, I'm a big draw. When you're a draw, you can sleep with the owner's daughter and he'll ask you how it was." But he was, anybody hung out with him, he was just, like, after we did the show, he's at the bar at a table with his friend. I'm walking with my wife, and he's like, "Why don't you sit down, have a drink with us?" So we sit down, and Fox sits down, and then Tim Allen, who was on the show, and Tim from the...
Yeah, Tim Allen started at the Comedy Castle as well.
Yeah.
I actually started while Tim was away.
Can we say that? I worked with him the weekend before he went away.
Huh.
Can we say where he went?
I think everyone knows, so we'll just leave it there.
Everybody knows? Yeah. I worked with him. He was doing real good, and then he was going on Monday to...
That's a good story right there.
He was nervous, yeah.
I would be too.
But then anyway, we both did the Dangerfield. So we're all sitting at the table, me and Fox and my wife and Rodney and his friend. And then, like, I'm here. Alan pulls a chair between me and Rodney. He pulls it up. And he's like, then talking. All of a sudden, Rodney's like, "Quit kissing my ass. I put you on the show. That's all I'm doing for you. Leave me alone. We're having cocktails." But he was a schmoozer, Tim Allen.
Oh, yeah.
And look where he is now.
Yeah.
Pays to do that, I guess. But that was, yeah. And then there was, one night he met a girl. We're at the club. Rodney comes in. He had a club there. And he's like, "Okay, we're going to go to the bar. I'm going to go to the bathroom, then we'll go to the bar." So, all right. So he goes to the bathroom, comes back with a girl. He met a girl in the hallway. So he's like, "I got to take care of some business. You guys go to the bar. I'll meet you there." he goes in the elevator and has a little rendezvous with the girl. And
A Rodney-voo.
A rendezvous with the girl, and comes back to the... And the funniest, he goes, women dig me for me. It's my personality. He knew all, the fame, he knew all, but he could just walk down. But to me, I always wondered, the girl. It's one thing if you just see, like, Cruise or, Tom Selleck, and you have a thing with them. Who do you brag to that you, Rodney? That's the one who always killed me.
Yeah. It's almost like the Groucho Marx adage is that I wouldn't want to be with a girl that would have me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, it was unbelievable hanging with him.
You said during the break that everybody who knows Rodney has two things.
Right.
They've heard stories,
and they've seen his balls. And that's because when he did a show, as soon as he got off, he took off his suit and his tie and put on a robe, and he would just be sitting there.
Huh.
Yeah. I met who's that guy? Ron Kittle. He used to play for the White Sox. I was doing some show and we were talking about, he met Rodney and he goes, you know what? I saw his balls. It's like, and every comedian who knew him, they all say the same thing. It's hysterical. And if you want to know what they look like, picture his face, then picture that. It's not a pretty picture.
So how come a lot of comics, I know a lot of guys, moved out to L.A. after a while? Yeah. How come you never left?
Well, my wife never wanted to leave, really. Uh-huh. And I figured I'd be divorced if I did that. That's pretty much.
Huh.
And I didn't really like L.A. that much. When I went out there, I didn't really like it.
That was not...
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't...
You didn't want the Uncle Lair show?
I would have took it, but I didn't pursue it, I guess.
Didn't want to do the monk.
I would have, I would have done it if I had age. I was with William Morris at one time out there, and they would send me stuff once, but I don't know. I was making so much money in the Midwest that I didn't really want to leave that either.
Yeah,
I had a great deal with Zanies. I still do. And all around, I was working clubs all within a 300-mile radius. I made a lot of money.
Well, that's why I moved to Chicago. It was because at one point we sat down and counted. There had to be at least 60, 70 weeks of work within a 2-hour drive of Chicago.
2 or 3 hours, yeah. There was all that. Well, and then I used to do the Funny Bones, and they were all over the Midwest, St. Louis, Des Moines, Omaha, Green Bay. They were all over Cincinnati, Columbus, Pittsburgh, So I used to do all those, and Zanies a bunch, and
all the places where no one wants to drive.
Yeah. Did you ever drive to Pittsburgh? You ever drive in Pittsburgh? Have you ever been in there?
Yeah, I've been there.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's no straight street. You just get lost like crazy. It's like the worst.
The older cities are like that. They're before the Chicago fire.
Yeah.
It took the Chicago fire to get
to put the grade to put it.
Yeah, architects to say we should make streets square.
Yeah. Oh, is that? Yeah.
Yeah, the older cities were all done on a spoke.
I learned something on this. I remember working with you. This is always funny to me. And you used to save comment cards. Do you still do that?
No, probably because of the story you're going to tell me.
Because the guy wrote a comment. Because you were doing political stuff.
Right.
And he said, get rid of Tim Slagle. He's too opinionated. And you say, I said, Well, isn't that your opinion? Aren't you too opinionated? It's all right for you to have your opinion, but he can't have his. So, and that's pretty much trouble with America right now. Actually, when you think about it, they don't want to hear anybody else's opinion. It's like, that's my opinion, and that's it.
Yeah. It's yeah. Thanks to Facebook, we now get to see everybody else's opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if you don't like it, you get rid of him.
So do you work with some of the young kids very much today?
Well, yeah, they open it for me at, the AMC. And
What do you think about the state of comedy today?
Not enough jokes. There is a lot of premises or stories that are true that happen to them, but there's no joke. They need to twist that a little or something. To me, I don't know. It's different.
What I've noticed is when I was starting out, you could actually tell you could follow the rise and fall of comedy. Because when I started out, comics did jokes about flying on a plane.
Right.
And a little while later, they were doing jokes about driving in a car.
Right.
A little while after that, they were talking about driving in a crappy car.
Right.
It's kids these days, they're talking about how hard it is to bring a girl home when you live in mom's basement.
Yeah. But, there is some good comedians that I know from the start, like Pat McGann. He's great.
Yeah.
He's gotten really
solid.
He's really good. And Jim Flanagan and Brian Hicks. And there's a lot of those guys that started. They were opening for me. And they're really good and funny and, good. So,
And taking the headline slots.
Now they're taking my, that's what people always, any advice for me? Quit. You're taking my slots. There's only 52 in a year at a club. That's what happens.
It's. I actually heard a story where a comic got a guy into the club, and the booker gave him his week. And after this, we'll talk about that.
Everybody drinking? Good for you. Everyone should drink because alcohol is heavily taxed and the money goes to schools. So drink up. You're not a drunken education provider. That's a tip from your Uncle Larry.
And we're back on Stand Up, Sit Down with Larry Reeb. I always thought, we were talking in the break, I always thought you were famous.
Really?
But you told me, at least in Chicago, everyone.
Oh, in certain areas, yeah.
But you told me you never wanted to be famous.
No, I never. I just like working clubs. I really didn't. That you get bothered too much when you're famous. I just like doing clubs, doing what I wanted, say anything I wanted. I didn't have to worry about keeping it clean or That's what That's like a job, like a sitcom. You got to get up early and you got to memorize scripts. I never wanted a job. I just did this not to have to work a job. It's pretty much, and then my wife used to get on me because now everybody wants to be famous with the reality shows, except me, and I was in show business. But that's it.
I always thought that Larry the Cable Guy must have a really hard job because that's, for those of you who don't know, Larry the Cable, that's not really...
I think he stole my name. He was Dan Whitney, and he opened for me 3 or 4 times. And then next thing, he's Larry.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. I did not know that.
Send a check, Larry the Cable Guy. And then I'll pay Uncle Larry's estate.
Because he would have to, because he did that character, he would have to go into character the minute he left his house and got into the cab, through the airport, through the hotel. Yeah. It's, you and I, we get on stage for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
He'd be on stage all day.
Oh, I know. Yeah, why don't you get... Well, I remember Kinnison on Letterman. He came out and he said, when I first started this screaming thing, I didn't think I'd get famous and I'd have to do it every night of my life. And then you gotta scream the rest of your life. That was one of the funniest things.
It's you did get a little bit of fame though when you were on Last Comic Standing.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did that. And once again, my wife made me do it because I didn't like contests, and I didn't. You did like 2 minutes. Well, who could you tell who was funny in 2 minutes?
Right.
So they tape. They put us on. I did the auditions. You ever do it? You got to audition for two guys sitting there, and you tell them a couple jokes. Like, okay, put your. So then they do pre-interviews. And there's a painting of me at Zany's, and they're like, "Wow, you got your own painting." And what do you think of the show? Do you want to win? I go, I don't care. I'm here because my wife made me. And they're filming, and the looks on their faces, I knew right away they weren't going to pick me. So I'm like, I don't care. She made me come here, so I'm here.
She wanted me out of her hair for an hour.
So.
Every comic's got stories. Do you have a favorite comedy story?
Yeah, I was in Nashville Zanies. I was emceeing, and it was me and Ron Douglas and T.P. Maroney. And Ron Douglas was a big drinker and had a big problem.
Yeah.
And so they fired him Saturday night. And we thought he had a friend there. We thought he left with his friend because I'd been driving him. And he didn't. He stayed in the club, and he drank a whole bottle of vodka.
Oh, man.
And choked and died in the club. This gets funnier.
I hope so. We only got a couple minutes left.
So we're staying in a condo. We were all in a comedy condo, me and TP. So me and TP are there. We were doing 2 weeks. The next week, Steve and Leo, the comedy team, were coming in.
Who, Steve and Leo, you might not know the name, but you know their Space Jam, I think, was their breakout.
And they wrote a Tim Allen movie, too.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, they were they became big writers. And so they were working. So they come in like Sunday, and me and TP are in the living room. They come in, and they're like, Leo's like, how was last week? I go, well, Douglas died. And he goes, yeah, how did you do? And that's true.
Yeah, it's always amazed me that all the terms for comedy, if you do good, you kill. Yeah. If you do bad, you bomb. It's all
violent. Murdered, killed, bombed, destroyed. Yeah.
Ate sausage is another. That's probably the nicest way of saying you didn't do well.
Yeah. I actually did I was doing a Billy Gardell Road Dogs where he emceed. It was for Showtime, and he brought on 3 guys that he'd known for years, old guys. So we're doing the taping, and this Andy Smith is before me. And
I know her.
You know Andy?
Yeah.
And she's doing her set, and it's good. About 2 minutes left she had. A guy on the front had a seizure and fell out. They had to stop the taping. Billy had to go out. Then they had to bring her back to do her 2 minutes. And then she gets done, and I'm standing there. I go, hey, Andy, I don't care what you do in front of me. Just leave him breathing. You killed. You're murdered. You murdered him. You killed him. You're destroyed.
Did you ever have a guy urinate during the show?
On you or
just while you were? I had that once. I saw that.
Really?
Yeah. One time a guy got
his pants.
I got so drunk. Yeah. And it was a corporate gig. It was a corporate open bar gig.
Oh, wow.
And when they picked him up to carry him out, the rest of the company got to see what I was talking about because he had khakis on.
God. I always had women, though, come up to me. You're funny. You made me pee my pants. And then I would say, well, take your chair with you. No one wants to sit in it now. Yeah, I used to get that.
There was actually a club called that. There was a club, P.O. Pants.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was that?
California. Probably a good thing you never
It's not
went.
open anymore. I always love the, well, you've got the stuff people say to you. You know, it's like I know every comedian gets this
Yeah.
one. When you tell them you're a comedian, and they're like, "Are you funny?" They always say that. Well, I was in Oklahoma City, and I'm standing by the ticket, and they're like, "Who's the headliner?" And they point to me. So this lady comes, "Are you funny?" So I would always just go, "No, I'm horrible. I suck. I can't believe people book me. I'm terrible." She goes to her husband and goes, "He says he's not very funny. I don't think we should stay." And they laughed. And I'm like, good. That was sarcasm.
Yeah, it's one of the tools. You're going to have sarcasm, irony, puns.
And if you don't get them,
Larry, thank you very much for sitting down.
Thank you.
Stand
It's
up,
fun.
sit down. It's hope to have you back.
I'm going to be famous now. This show. Woo!
That's all for Stand Up, Sit Down for this evening. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Tim Slagle. Please come back and check us out again.